What's up, everybody? We're live from Lumen Field. I'm trying my best to be excited, Max. I'm not gonna lie.
There's nothing to be excited for, but we have to do a service and we have to have a dialogue because the season is still in diapers. And that is the truth.
And that service is, as we do after every match, 110 Football gives instant reactions. That's why I'm not hiding my emotions at all. Max Brodos has joined me instead of Connor. If you watched us on the Away Days virtual tailgate, you would know that Connor's in Spain, and I'm much happier for him after that result.
He's probably asleep.
Max, right off the top, what is your instant reaction? I'm wearing it on my face. I'll talk about how I feel after, but you just what do you got?
It's very frustrating. You see a team do so well in the first half. There's a lack of almost chemistry in between these players when they hit that final third. There's a lack of confidence, which I think is something that could be alleviated, and the chemistry issue as well. But you see the build-up. We were here on the overhead shot. You go, yes, great pass. That's a good one. And then there is an opportunity a lot of times between they had a back three and between Arriaga and Nuhu and then Arriaga and Yeimar. There was these spaces and they never could put them in. Their runners were going in there. It's just a disconnect, but it's happening frequently, and I know people are frustrated. And I felt that Seattle was ripe for the picking here, but maybe the way they look is the reason they're so successful. They sit there, they'll take some blows, and then they'll bang it. The first goal coming off a corner kick, but it was the second ball off a corner kick after the first corner kick. Things that could have been avoided. Seattle's really good. There was times I looked at Seattle, the way they connected the passes. I go, man, I wish we could do that, and we're not there yet.
Right. The one thing I am envious of Seattle is they seem to know when there's even a sliver of advantage how to go straight for it. Like, they see a weakness, and they go straight at it. They pass quickly. They make decisions quickly. That second goal, when they just moved it from one side to the other and just LAFC was like a seesaw back and forth, that was actually a thing of beauty. But to your point, that's what they do. They literally just sit back. They wait for the moment. Whereas in that first 45 minutes, I really liked the LAFC team I saw. They were proactive.
Sam Steskal, who's a writer for The Athletic, I tweeted something and said he was good, and he even agreed. He goes, I love what Bob did. I love how he set up Seattle, and you saw it. It was really good.
Yeah, for me, it's not tactics, and that's why it's so frustrating, because I'm out of my depth when I say these players are better than this. I know they can execute better than this. They're simply not doing it. I don't know what you do. You don't just go on the training pitch and have them send 10 passes over and over again. Bob's got his work cut out for him. This is a man management problem, I think.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure on there's pressure on Bob from the fan base. You could see it. You go on Twitter. It's obviously a thing. But there is a long-term plan here, and you're going to have to abide by it. And Bob, for all the criticism that maybe the team wasn't clicking last season, they fixed it for the Champions League. It's understandable to have a reaction. It's understandable to be upset. But the way this league is based, you've got to let this thing cook a little bit more. And if it was they were getting absorbing pressure and making howling mistakes, yeah, that's a different thing. If they were second best on all these plays, that's fine. But that's not the case.
Okay, Max, you've been on the show before. You know how it works. We have little fun things that we like to do. Again, we're not having fun today because it hasn't been fun at all. But off the top, we like to do headlines. You're writing the paper. You're telling me what's the first thing I need to know about this match. What is your LAFC headline from this 2-0 loss?
Well, I wouldn't be very good in the paper business because I do wear my black and gold shades. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. But I would say rock bottom, only way to go up. Only way to go is up. And you look at the standings, and if you don't
Literal
have to,
rock
avoid
bottom.
looking at the standings because LAFC is right there at the bottom, right in the Western Conference, right above FC Dallas. This is 6 games. There's nothing astronomical about their positioning, like allowing too many goals, obviously not scoring enough goals. And maybe that's probably a bigger headline is like, where is the offense? And it has to come. You got Carlos Vela back. He looks a long way away from the Carlos Vela we saw last December. It's a combination thing where you've got to find what works. You have like 16 guys there, and you got to find that 11 that works well together. A lot of tinkering, I think, isn't ideal for LAFC. Mm-hmm. But you have 2 home games coming up. Then you have the break. So you look at this, all right, we're on the bottom. We're not going any lower than this. We can't. Home game against the Rapids. Home games against New York City FC. Get yourself well.
But even 5 games in, being at the bottom is just not acceptable, right?
It's not what any of us expected to see.
And Dallas is probably where they should be, and they're figuring a lot of stuff out. But this rock bottom, this is for sure rock bottom. I mean,
are you taking my headline?
No, my headline. Oh God, my headline is I just don't know anymore.
Is that your headline? Question mark?
I just don't know anymore. Question mark. Because like I said, I'm watching this. I'm watching that first 45 minutes, and we have them hemmed in, and we're doing all this work, and the guys look like they're really working in concert, and they're finding spaces, and then literally there's a 3-yard window where you say, okay, that's where the pass has got to go, and the player even sees it, and you go, God, he sees it. This is going to happen, and biffs it.
Yeah, and we were watching the game, and we were saying yes, and then I had to take a little walk because it was frustrating. It's everyone. There's not somebody who's going, I'm going to make this pass, and it's going to make a difference. I think there were some chances where they did get through, and the separation never happened. There wasn't that moment where they, for all that attacking in that first half, very few gilt-edged chances. You looked at it, when are they going to register a shot on goal? It was late in the half. Those opportunities have to come sooner. This was a Seattle team with a guy making his club debut for the Sounders, is Stefan Cleveland. They're chanting his name out here. It wasn't like he did a lot of work, but he's got a clean sheet against the arguably preseason Western Conference favorite.
Yeah.
That's not the way it's supposed to go.
And in the Galaxy loss, it doesn't matter. When you lose to the Galaxy, it hurts. It doesn't matter how you lose. But you could look at it and say, if you're an analytics guy, you could say, well, we had much better the chances. We look at the XG. We outdo them in XG. That wasn't happening tonight. Like to your point, there was no gilt-edged chances. They just simply moved the ball around, and in the moment when you needed that final pass, zero quality.
Is this a chance to shake I don't know how you shake it up, but as the players go, I don't know who you pick out of this squad and say you didn't live up to snuff. There was effort, there was performance, it was collective in the malaise.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, all right, we're going to teach a lesson. You're not playing. I just don't know where you start with that. So I don't know if you're going to see a major shakeup. I think it came ahead of this game a little bit.
Right.
And you hope Carlos Vela gets better. I think, look, Baird and Rossi, we were hoping to get behind a little, and they didn't at all. They didn't.
Right. Well, I think we have a lot to talk about on Monday for the podcast when we get back home. But we'll move on to stock rising. Max, could you pick a stock rising? Oh, we got DJ horns. I love those. That makes me smile, at least. I still love sound effects.
I'm going to go with, look, there was some guy, it is hard, but there were some guys that I thought took a little step toward. Look, how about Chicky? Coming off, showing some little spunk.
That's interesting.
And Kim Moon Hwan, I thought, was very good. A little rudderless. There was this one moment where he made this incredible run up the right side. He was unattended, and Carlos didn't see him.
Right.
Carlos had the ball in his foot, and I was like, go. So maybe Chicky, because he went to the bench, and I could see that he had a little different outlook when he came up. So I think he was definitely a stock falling last week.
Yep.
For lack of a better option, I'm going to have him stock rising.
Well, I'm going to go in a similar vein, and I'm going to take another player that was definitely stock falling last week. Jose Cifuentes, I thought he was very good. He had nowhere to go but up.
Criticized a lot, and I don't think he did poorly.
I don't think. You know what? I honestly don't think he was really that poor in the Galaxy game. He lost a couple of duels. He lost a couple of 1v1 battles, but he was pretty okay. And obviously, he gets blown up on that first goal. It looks bad. It's basically being posterized in that tackle from Williams. But in this game, he was strong on the ball. He was driving. He was shooting. One of the things that not a lot of guys were doing. So I'm going to go with Cifuentes. And by the time he was taken out of the game, he's not the problem. He was not the problem.
The Sounders back line, and it was a tremendous tactic, they just kept dripping back and falling back for our front runners because they were almost tempting our midfielders to do something, and the midfielders would look for a pass to do it. Mm-hmm. Someone has to hit something from there or do a little more threatening play than the side pass, you try and do something. Someone's got to go in there because that defense keeps going back. And we know how the Sounders are. They weren't going to budge, and it worked perfectly for them because no one on that next group, whether it was Sifu or Atuesta or Mark Anthony AK, caused a threat to bring those defenders out. They didn't.
All right, you only get one for stock falling. Don't go. That's very apropos here in Seattle where Drew Carey is. I believe, is he still part owner? We played the Price is Right sad music.
It's a new car.
Stock falling. I'm going to go first. It's passing. Execution, passing.
It's not a player for
it doesn't. Hey, I make the rules first of all, so I can do whatever I want. You listen to me though. No, I'm kidding. No, it's execution though. To your point, there's just no quality. There's literally just no quality. And I don't think that shooting is necessarily the answer. You don't just start shooting from distance and that breaks things up. But, man, if you are going to play those passes in and around the box, someone's got to, like, really take the game by the scruff of the neck, the way, like, a certain Carlos Vela would do at times, and really push this team forward and just do something a little bit more creative than the little side passes or the little just recycling of the ball, the little movements. Try stuff. Like, literally, just try stuff. I'm frustrated because we're just not seeing it. We could see the passes at times. They're not creating those. So then you say, well, okay, somebody needs to just get on the ball and pull this team up. That's not happening either. So I literally don't know. So
Diego Rossi, by his lofty standard, and the way Corey Baird, that is something I could say is stock falling. But I would say through balls, just in narrow play, the wide play is great, and the wide play sets up the narrow play and vice versa.
Right.
The defense adjusts to what you're succeeding. But what I saw was those spaces between the back three that we have the runners, and it never was exploited. There wasn't a good enough ball. There wasn't really that many attempts to put it there. They saw it, said, no, we're going to go out. Someone's going to make a decision. And there's space there, and you have the guys who can retrieve it. Through balls is something they got to work on. Those final touches, what it all comes down to. But there was space there. We had the overhead lock. We were sitting right above all the play, and granted, you could see it all develop far back, and those players don't have that perspective. But it's there.
We're about to get out of here, but I want to ask you one more thing. First 45 minutes, you and I both thought, okay, that's a good 45 minutes. I'd like to see a few more shots on goal.
It still was a frustrating 45 because of the lack of options.
Right. The start of the second half, a little flat. But the reaction to being scored on, I saw heads drop. That's a problem. What is your take on that? Because that is probably the most frustrating thing to me. This is a team that I know can score goals. I felt like they were like this. We were done. We got scored on. We did our best in that 45. We couldn't do anything. We're done. And that's not an LAFC team that I know.
And LAFC is going to have those opportunities because teams are going to play this way against them because they know that's the best way to succeed. You got to unlock it. But when you see a lack of confidence, that's a bit of an alarm bell ringing because you've got to find the guys that aren't affected. But it seemed like everyone did put their head down. Everyone was just frustrated with the lack of precision, with the lack of opportunities. And we saw that against the Galaxy. We said they played well. They didn't get enough. They got some goal-scoring opportunities. They had less here, and it has to be up here. It has to be a confidence thing where you've just got to go at these defenders.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you're a goal behind. It's the moment to just turn it up a notch and say, we got to do something. We've got to do something.
And they were wide open for about 10 minutes as well.
Yep.
Not right after the goal, but a little bit afterwards. They had a little flurry of activity. And there was like 10 minutes where they're hitting balls, and you're like, oh, boy. I even said to myself, this could get ugly. And thankfully, it was just the 2 goals. Yeah. But there's a couple opportunities that they could have probably created something, and this could have been an embarrassing defeat.
100% agree. Well, Max, I enjoyed doing this with you. I feel like it was cathartic in a way.
I'm not allowed to be back after that one. Huh?
I know. You might not be our good luck charm, but we will be back this week. Max and I will be talking out in an even longer form on the podcast on Monday, which will drop for you guys on Tuesday. Of course, the 110 Football Big Show on Friday, and then we'll be back again for the virtual tailgate Saturday, LAFC, Colorado. Hopefully we can get a better result.
Yes, and there's some good news about that game. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're going to get there. We're going to lift this team up together. We're going to do it again the following weekend.
On those encouraging words, we say goodbye.